Hello and welcome to today's video. This time I'll be taking a look through and reviewing Phantasmagoria, issue 25 and issue 26, plus the Alchemy Press Book of the Dead 2024. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look. So yeah, I've got three things to review in this particular video, and we're going to start off with Phantasmagoria issue 25. So this one is cover dated winter 2024 into 2025, and well, first of all, what an amazing cover. I absolutely love it. So we'll have a little work our way through on this one. So I did make, I read these recent ones on my holiday, and I did make notes as I was going along. So they are massive books, so I'm not going to be able to go through the whole lot. This is best part of 300 pages, but I will go through here and I'll give you a little taste and I'll read you my notes such as they were. So first off, a great introduction by editor Trevor Kennedy, starting a cottage industry in the bootleg horror videotapes, which I really enjoyed his entertaining introduction. So many memories were brought back, and congratulations also for the Phantasmagoria magazine being nominated for a World Fantasy Award. That was actually fantastic. There's a very young Trevor there in his school uniform from September 1988, and yeah, he in the introduction does go on about doing copies of bootleg horror videos. I can remember doing something very, very similar when I was younger. And then we move into the first feature, which is a look at Videotapes from Hell by Stephen Jones. And here Stephen is interviewed, and this is followed by a full review of the book, which does look really outstanding. It's all about sort of the original and now quite collectible early releases of some of these sort of B-movie horror and science fiction classics. And yeah, there's the whole new book out now called Videotapes from Hell. And there is the cover there. So, and this is the full review of the book. This is definitely on my list to get now. So, although I don't collect old video like this, it's just, well, you can see the sort of content that's in there. It's fantastic. The book really does look quite outstanding, right up my street. Yes, good stuff. SS Girls, oh dear. Brilliant. And then this is then followed by a steady stream of interviews, features and reviews. There's a great article here I enjoyed by Barnaby Page on the original Carrie movie. And there was a very interesting part of that as well, an interesting fact I didn't know, and that the casting for Carrie and the first Star Wars movie happened almost simultaneously, which is quite incredible. Now, as I said, this is not a small term. It's like 300 pages, and like the last two issues that I looked through, I found myself making like a little short list of movies I wanted to revisit and books I wanted to investigate a little bit further and or read. Now, there is a celebration of author Adrian Cole, who's amazingly 75. I had no idea he was that sort of age. I do remember actively selling him or his books in the 1990s as a bookseller. And a few more articles, as you can see, all the way through here. That was an interesting one there, interview with Kim Newman there on what he's got going on at the moment. And there he is with Stephen Jones, working on yet another Blu-ray commentary. This is the piece on Carrie that I found so interesting. That was really, really good. I haven't watched Carrie in quite the while, so it's due another turn. Once seen, I guess never forgotten, is probably the best way to describe it. Now, there's a few more articles. Here we are. And then a decent chunk of the book is brand new fiction. Some by authors I've heard of, others by people who are brand new to me. They are a bit of a mixture, but they're all sort of within the sort of genre that we would tend to enjoy, you know, so horror, Lovecraftian, that sort of thing. But I think in One Piece, they get sent so much, even Trevor admits that they don't have time or space to actually review everything that gets sent to them. That was quite a nice piece on Guy and Smith there, which is a celebration of werewolf by moonlight, which I think is 50th anniversary of Guy and Smith's first book there. Yeah, I enjoyed. There was a little review of the first season of the very latest Doctor Who. That was by Benjamin Unsworth. That was a good, nice, balanced read. It seems to be so much one way or the other with that new Doctor Who series. So it's nice to see like a balanced read. There is Adrian Cole and his latest books. I see it's really well illustrated throughout. I love it. I really like this sort of thing. And then we're into the fiction. So there's a list of all the fiction that's contained in this one. As I said, some of the names you might recognise, others maybe new, that haven't come across them before. And there's big names in there as well, people like Ramsey Campbell, for example. So yeah, quite a bit of that. And yeah, so I said I read this one and the next issue. I read these on the ferry over to France, and I was in France for a week with the wife, and of course I had this cover out, and I was just leaving it casually on the table, and I was internally laughing my head off at the sideways glances that the cover was getting from other people on the ferry. I thought, well, that was particularly good. The the lady in her underwear, wielding a chainsaw. It doesn't get much better than that, does it? Anyway, that's the first book. A little look through that. Next one is this, which is also published by Alchemy Press and Phantasmagoria. So it's Phantasmagoria books, I should say. So it is part of the series, as it were, and it's compiled by Stephen Jones. There we are, and it's a compilation of Stephen's posts throughout the year. Now, I do follow Stephen on Facebook, and he. When a prominent person within the film of books, TV, film, behind the scenes, filmmaking, passes away, I can always look forward to a really nice sort of balanced summary of their career. And this is all the people who sadly passed away in 2024. These are expanded on the Facebook posts, so you get them in a little bit more detail with a nice picture of them as well. And it might seem a bit weird, but it's actually quite a fascinating read. And there we are. And you do come across people you hadn't realised had passed away, or it's just reminding you that they're now gone. People like the lovely Brian Lumley, who such a great guy. And so many. There were so many in the last year. So yeah, interesting to read the people that you knew, but also sad to read about people you didn't know, but it's fascinating all the same. It is a bit of a sad realisation that we are all mortal, and there are plenty of people in this book a lot younger than myself who've actually passed away. But as you can see, it's really nicely produced. There's a good use of stills for every person, plus colour dotted around throughout the book. So I shall just flick through there. There's last year's one if you'd like to get the 2023 and the 2022. There we are, 2020, 2021. And there's Stephen. So we'll work our way through, going from back to front, so you get an idea of what you might be looking at. But I said, actually really fascinating, really good summaries of these people who sadly passed away. I think beyond the bigger names who got publicity, say made it to the BBC News, for example, it's the people behind the scenes who you definitely would have seen their name in various credits over the years, and you realise that person is no longer with us. And as I said, people like that, Christopher Priest, there's authors, TV and film stars, and behind the scenes people, filmmakers and TV people like that. So this one came alongside Phantasmagoria, and I wanted to bring it to your attention. I said, really nicely presented book. I love these sorts of things. It's excellent. There we are. Good stuff. So that's the 2024 edition of the Alchemy Press Book of the Dead, compiled by Stephen Jones. Now this next issue is issue 26, Spring 2025, and it says it's the EasterCon 2025 souvenir issue. And this one centres around EasterCon, and it was held in Belfast and focuses very much on Irish writing and writers. Now, there's an absolutely beautiful wraparound cover by Jim Fitzpatrick. I really, really like that one. And there's a feature on Jim Fitzpatrick in this issue, and you can see it's it's another 300-pager, and absolutely superb. I did get sent this one from Trevor, and it's got all manner of signatures in there. So Trevor, I was particularly over the moon to see so many signatures in there that I think Trevor picked up at EasterCon. So thank you very, very much for sending me this extra special edition. Very, very chuffed with that. So here we are again, and as I said, I mentioned about the cover there by Jim Fitzpatrick. In the feature on him, I had no idea he was responsible for that classic iconic image of Che Guevara. And there's an excellent interview with Jim a bit later on in the issue. So once again, I'll go through the contents there, but once again, another entertaining opening editorial from Trevor Kennedy. Highlights being this time his newspaper delivery round, which included a stop at Ballysillin Haunted House in North Belfast, which mysteriously burnt to the ground. Apparently nothing to do with Trevor, though. Yeah, so there he is. And there is the house in question. And the first feature is on Irish Gothic, which is packed with detail and quite fascinating. Then the first of many interviews throughout the magazine, this time with author Peter Tremaine, who's a leading authority on Celtic history. That was a great photo of him there, speaking with Isaac Asimov. There we are, unmistakable. Impressing publishing trade journalist David Delpledge in 1975. Yeah, very accomplished person is Peter Tremaine. And the good thing is about this, there doesn't seem to be any sort of like rush or limitation. I think the pieces run as long as they need to run, which I think is really great. Maura Muckhu, Wild at Heart, interviewed by Alison Weir here, and particularly interested in the Twin Peaks one there, and they all are, the gang. She's also written for Judge Anderson for 2000 AD, and had that critical look at Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, amongst many other things. Then there's an exhaustive work at the works of J.S. Sheridan Le Fanu, which is followed by an interview with author Caitlin R. Kieran. There she is. And this is just really a taste of what's in this particular issue, which I am still actually working. Oh, look at that handsome devil! I am still working my way through this particular one. I didn't quite manage to finish it on holiday. I had a lot of other reading to do as well, but I am still working my way through it. But it's very, very similar. There's an interview there with SF author Ian MacDonald. But as I said, this is very much Irish writers and Irish based with the content in this particular issue. And there was a really good look at Irish genre cinema as well, which is another one that I enjoyed. Here's the interview with Jim Fitzpatrick. There he is. Really, really fascinating. And there's his classic, some might say, well, it is, iconic image of Che Guevara, who he actually got to meet. Amazing. I mean, that was on many a poster in the 1970s, wasn't it? On many a wall. There we are. Fantastic style. Look at Robert E. Howard there. Irish science fiction. Harry Clarke. And then if I flick through, once again, lots and lots of fiction is included. See if I can get to the list of the fiction authors here. There we are, Compendium of Irish Genre Cinema, which I found really interesting. Some great stuff in there. Some interesting things there, which I didn't know of the Irish connection of. But you can see it's absolutely massive. So here's the Irish fiction. So similar to the last one, it's a good... Well, it's about 140 pages of fiction in here. Once again, there'll be people you know, Bram Stoker, Peter Tremaine, but there'll be people you may not have come across before as well. Absolutely superb. Now, I hear the next issue is going to be on the Daleks, of all things. So I'm going to hopefully contribute a little piece for Trevor on Dalek books and adaptations. I think that might be quite fun. So look out for that. It is, I believe this one is like quarterly. There's at least 3 issues a year, I believe. So with regards to actually picking this up, the best way, I suppose, is through the Phantasmagoria website. You can also pick copies up right off the shelf in Forbidden Planet in Belfast, or you can get them off Amazon. So I'll link to all 3 of those in the description down below. So there we are. So that's the very latest issue, hot off the press, the Eastercon one. You've got the one before that, number 25. And of course, don't forget the Alchemy Book of the Dead for 2024 as well. So 3 great titles which I'm sure you will enjoy. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed that little look through Phantasmagoria magazine as well as the Alchemy Book of the Dead. If you have enjoyed today's video, do please give it the thumbs up. Do make sure you hit the subscribe button for regular content such as this, and I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.